tell me about the last month or two for you. Like, let's meet you right in the present right now.
Okay, so I'm performing in the West End.
Yeah, you are.
8 shows a week with 2 young kids. So this is a lot in itself. I also qualified as a PT, and I'm continuing to study. So I've started coaching people in person a little bit, which has been great. So that's all the like career stuff and family stuff. But alongside this, I got diagnosed ADHD and autistic.
Welcome to Finding My User Manual, a podcast all about how to be human when no one gave you the instruction manual. My name is Tiggs Rice, and I'm an empowerment photographer based in London, UK. And today I am thrilled, so thrilled, to invite Joanna Woodward to the couch today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, honestly, I just so happy that you're here. We have been talking about this episode for a couple of weeks now, haven't we? And I'm just so excited to see where this one goes, because the spectrum of things that we have spoken about is so varied, I think. And also, you and I are in very similar places right now in like journeys and neurodivergent diagnoses and everything else. And you've been my support rock for the last couple of weeks as well, especially like
Have to me as well.
Oh, mutual love.
Mutual love.
But yeah, so I'm so thrilled that we get to do this, and hopefully other people will benefit from this chat as well. Let me give you the ego boosting introduction. Joanna Woodward is a woman so iconic it would be impossible to sum her up in a 2-sentence elevator pitch. Currently playing the role of Ula in The Producers in the West End, her photo currently decorates the walls of every major London Underground station across the capital. She's so badass, by the way. Recent performer credits also include Pretty Woman, the musical, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and the original cast recording of The Time Traveller's Wife, in which she played the role of Claire in the world premiere. But we're only just scratching the surface of her CV right now, because beyond the stage, Joanna's life is richly multi-layered. She is also ADHD, a mum of 2, a writer, a cabaret singer and host, as well as being a PT, nutritionist and a life coach, a perfectly woven tapestry of life experience that positions her perfectly to help others embrace their authenticity and heal relationships with food and body image. Today, as we discuss stage, story and self-acceptance, I cannot wait to see where this conversation leads us.
Where will it go?
Who knows? I feel like this is going to be the most like topic tangenty. Oh, by the way, side note, podcast I've ever done. So let me start with the very most important question, and then we can just we can go wherever we want after that. If you came with a user manual, what would it say on page 1?
So I think it would very plainly say something along the lines of, you just need to strap in because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Would be the first thing it would say. On page 1, and that it would be a very, very long book of, as it was saying, many tangents and many lessons, which I'm still learning. We never stop learning that, but I do feel in a good place right now where I'm like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. Like I'm on the right path of knowing what my user manual is, but it's still quite bumpy and busy.
Normally I would say to someone at this point, let's start from the origin story. But actually I feel like the best place to meet you today is actually right here in the right now. So tell me about the last month or two for you. Like, let's meet you right in the present right now.
Okay, so I'm performing in the West End.
Yeah, you are.
8 shows a week with 2 young kids. So this is a lot in itself. I also qualified as a PT. And I'm continuing to study. So I've started coaching people in person a little bit, which has been great. So that's all the like career stuff and family stuff. But alongside this, I got diagnosed ADHD and autistic. When was that? Like, 2 months ago.
Yeah, so
not long. Maybe 3 months ago.
It has been, because I got my ADHD in August, and I want to say yours September, October.
Yeah.
And then I got my autism at the beginning of November, and I think you're like,
I was just chasing you.
November, December.
We're like running along behind.
3-4 weeks apart.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Because then you started your medication and I was again like 3-4 weeks behind.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So
we've really, really like been doing this kind of together, haven't we?
Which has been really good.
And how has it been? I mean, both of us are going through, I don't want to say late life. I'm going to go with midlife. I feel like that's
Jesus.
better. I keep hearing like late diagnosed, and I'm like, yes, but also
true.
I'm in my prime, baby. I'm in my prime. But you've lived a wonderful life, career. You've done so much stuff already, even just now. And I mean, there is obviously so much more to come already, but you're finding out sort of like really in like your prime years. How has that felt for you?
Yeah, it's been good. And we are still in our prime, but I suppose with that does come a bit of a mourning of like, I wish I'd known certain things earlier. That hasn't hit me a lot. Like, I know some people find it really hard when they get their diagnosis and they look back over their entire life and feel really quite lost by it all. There's not many moments that I look back on with huge sadness, because I do think, you know, we end up in the places we're supposed to be where we are today. But there's certain points where I am sad that I didn't have the help or the knowledge that I now have. But saying that, I'm really grateful to be in this position now, and it's the right time for me to, because my kids are getting slightly older, they're 8 and 4. It's the right time for me to have a little bit more brain space to bring to this for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time, and I do feel, I don't know what it is about the late 30s, but I feel like quite empowered right now and ready to bring on the future, and letting go of all those worries that you have as a young woman slowly.
I feel like there was a point where I think 40 felt like really, really like old, and I'm about to turn 40 this year, and I remember feeling the same way about 30, but then I hit 30. I'm like, oh my God, my 30s are incredible.
Yeah.
Like, they've just continued to be epic.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm on the cusp of like the big 40, I mean, literally this year. And I just feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
And also getting all of that extra knowledge in the last sort of 6 months.
Yeah.
Have you felt your brain doing much like reprocessing of things, or was it kind of like, you know what, I already knew this?
I think it's been a slower, I think although I got my diagnoses in the last few months, I self-diagnosed as autistic probably 4 years ago. So I think that's been a slow process of looking at things differently. ADHD was more of a surprise for me, which now I know what it is and that I have it seems really stupid, because like I'm like, of course you have ADHD. Have you met me? And just the way I live my life and the things I hunt for and grab for, it's now glaringly obvious to me. But yeah, so I think that's been a bit more of a learning curve, but the autism has been a slower learning curve and was more of just a huge light bulb, and then a sort of slow picking apart of things.
What was your first, like you said, it's sort of 4 or 5 years ago that you kind of started realizing. What was your, like light bulb moment? Like, was there anything specific that stands out? You're like,
It was, so my daughter was going through a diagnosis for autism. And so obviously I was doing lots of reading into that. In fact, I think she might have got her autism diagnosis at that point. And I didn't know anything about autism before at all. I didn't even really have any of those preconceived ideas of what it is, or what we're shown on television. It just literally wasn't in my sphere. And yeah, so she got diagnosed, and then I started looking into it for adults and specifically women. And I came across a list of the ways autism can show up in women. Yeah. And it was by an author, I can't remember her name now. I listened to a podcast by her, and I was like, right. And then someone else sent me another list, which was way more detailed in how it can show up in that profile. And I was stood in my spare bedroom at home, and I literally burst into tears, because I was just like, it wasn't even it was the things I've struggled with, but it wasn't just that. It was all the nuances that make me brilliant and interesting as well were also on that list.
Yeah.
And it was just this sudden moment of all these different things that have happened in my life that I've thought were kind of 5 or 6 different issues I have or different mental health issues I have were actually all under this one umbrella, potentially. Yeah. And I was like, are you joking? Like, why has no one thought to think about this for me before? I mean, I'd been to a therapist and tried to convince him that I had borderline personality disorder because I was like, there's something going on. And it was at a time when I was postnatally depressed and all my friends were abandoning me. And I was like, right, well, I've got borderline then. That's what I've got. And it wasn't that. I can see why I thought it was.
Do you know, I also have been down that exact same, is this? But you're right. And I mean, if anyone has looked up the criteria, actually, there is a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
But there was, from what I remember from reading it, you have to have 5 of the 9 symptoms. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wait, I don't have that. But all the ones I have are on that autism
Yeah. And then you see the autism list and you're like, oh, I got all of those.
Yeah.
I got all of those. But people found it really hard to believe that I was. And they still do. I'm still greeted with, eye roll is too strong a term, but like that kind of feeling of you can't be. And I just get a lot of oh, you must be the most high functioning autistic person that ever existed.
Which, I mean, you and I have known each other. We were literally just asked this just before this podcast. And I think we've worked out this about 15, 16 years we've known each other.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always known about you is you are so self-aware. And your journey of self-identity and learning about yourself has been an ongoing process, and you have leaned into...
It's my special interest.
Right? I mean, literally. But you, above anyone else, has really leaned into... I mean, the term finding my user manual, you would be the cover girl of that, which is why I'm so excited that you're here. But I know that we've had conversations, and I don't think either of us, maybe 10 years ago when we started maybe having these conversations, looked at it and, neither of us were looking through it through the spectrum of neurodivergence. But I know that that's been a journey. Like, can you talk about that process of finding yourself over the last sort of 10, 15 years? Because, I mean, you said at the beginning, it's been a bit of a bumpy ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had suffered with a lot of mental health illnesses and eating disorders, and so I was always reading sort of the self-help books or that sort of side of things because of that, but also because I have a huge interest in humans. I'm an actor, I have a huge interest in how people's minds work and how we function in the world and show up as ourselves or not. So yeah, it started with sort of, reading self-help books, I suppose. And then after the birth of my first baby, I realised about 4 months in that I was horrendously postnatally depressed, like scarily so. But it took me 4 months to realise that that's what was happening, because I was, like having a newborn is just like relentless. You just keep going and you think it's hard and this is normal. It wasn't normal. And that was a really, really hard time. And also having a baby in itself, even without the depression, was very hard for me because I was this glamorous theatre cabaret performer. I had this huge persona that existed that I thought was me, that wasn't me. And having a baby just like smacks the wall down of all of that stuff. And so after I realised I was postnatally depressed, I tried to obviously get myself better, and there were lots of different suggestions about what I should do. There was even a suggestion that I should be admitted at one point, which I fought against gently. I tried antidepressants again, like nothing really. I went back to therapy. But what I will say for myself is that whenever I've been depressed, I've always willed myself to find a way out, and that's not always possible, and sometimes it takes a long time. But I realised at that point that I had to change a lot of things in order to survive that time.
Yeah.
And instead of that being, what new outfit can I wear? What new personality can I be today? It suddenly became, actually, what can I take away and what is left. Who am I is essentially what I had to figure out. And so that's why I now look back at that time in hindsight and realize that I was unmasking.
Yeah.
It was just my unmasking, but I just didn't have the language for it then.
Yeah.
And I just felt like everything was falling away. It felt like the layers were just like peeling back. And I was scared because I didn't know what was going to be left underneath all of those layers. But I just had this guiding feeling of what's left under there is like who you are and who you're meant to be. And that's what's going to make you feel better and be not ill. And it was, but it took a really, really long time. And it was really, really simple little things I had to just do for myself every day, which I still stand by. You know, small, tiny habits that we can do consistently to be stepping in the right direction instead of the wrong direction.
I feel like unmasking is talked about in a way that it feels like, you know, just bring the forefront of yourself to the surface. And actually it is quite scary letting go of things that have been your identity for so long. One of my big ones, I used to collect, you know, like the enamel, like plastic bangles that like a lot of vintage, like vintage loving people wear. And I bought them and I had spent hundreds of pounds on these bracelets. And I realized that every time I wore them, I hated the sound they made. I didn't like the texture of them. They were chunky, so I didn't like feel my wrists. And I'd realized, but it took me years to go, I don't like this. Like, and it's
hard relate.
Not even like, I mean, they're beautiful, but I wanted them to just look at, not necessarily, I didn't need them on my body. And there were so many things like that. And that one for me was the big one. I was like, oh, okay, fine. Or, you know, vintage dresses. I got so caught up in what I thought was my personality. And actually I realized that I had been, every time I felt like I was accepted as a neurodivergent woman who really struggled with friendship, and I'm like, oh, this is where I belong. I'll lean into this.
And we lean into it hard.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, the vintage scene and we both worked in burlesque for a long time, and it's a beautiful, amazing world full of such exciting, hardworking people. But I essentially became that burlesque thing. And not just because of neurodivergence, but because I think someone said to me, you know, oh, you're a curvy girl, like you look a bit like Marilyn Monroe, so you should wear those types of clothes. And then I was like, right, so my body has been rejected. I'm an actor. My body's been rejected constantly. And now someone's saying if I wear those types of clothes like Marilyn wore, well, then I'll be good.
Yeah.
And so I would wear these tight-waisted,
oh girl, I remember
tops.
I think you had every Vivian Holloway dress.
I used to model for them. I was still wearing them in the producers. Hilariously, those were my costumes. But I was uncomfortable. But I couldn't leave the house without a red lip and a bleached hair, and it became I couldn't just be it now and then. That had to be
it was
my
all or nothing
costume, my cape. Yeah. And so letting go of all of that. Yeah.
And so when you did obviously I'm not saying you're fully there. I feel like even with me, it's going to be a lifetime potentially of finding out what's at the bottom. But what are the most interesting things that you've learned about yourself? Like true, core, integral Jo, what's in there? What have you found that you love about yourself?
I think it's just been really interesting to realize that I'm actually quite calm and I like quiet, and because I was told my whole life that I'm loud and confident, but actually that loudness and that confidence really came with my passion for theatre and singing, and in other aspects, in friendship or anything, I was not that. So yeah, that's been really interesting to find that my core values are actually much more based in a quiet, safe home environment with people that I love. And creativity is slowly coming back to me with that realization as well. And that why did I begin to create? And also, you know, we chase success for so long And I'm not saying I'm at the peak of the mountain of where I want to be in acting, but for my whole life, all I wanted to be was this leading lady in a West End show. And
she's
I am.
And I mean, we don't have to humble brag. I'm all about empowering and elevating people. So please, like, I know that has been your dream.
It has.
For
forever.
Yeah, it has been above every other. I mean, you've had loads of dreams, but that was always that, you know, it was the big, that's what I'm going to be one day. And you've worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, thoroughly earned it. And you are so incredible. I will literally come and see every single thing you're in because hardcore fan over here. But it's just,
you get there and then it's hard work, obviously, especially with two kids. And you just chase that thing your whole life. And I guess I've started really realizing what I love about it isn't maybe what we think we're supposed to love about it along the way, like the gathering of the followers and the fame and the notoriety. And I've had a taste of that.
What do you love about it? What are the big things?
I just love creating and reinventing it every night. And singing in itself is a pure form of flow for me most of the time, not all of the time. 8 shows a week, you know, there's a fair ratio of those shows that are filled with inner anxiety and not flow.
Because that's being human.
Because that's being human. I love the people. I love the personalities. I love when I get an audition, the fact that I get to try on someone else's shoes again. It's become a lot more, I feel a lot more empowered by my decisions now. And you know that if I do a job, it's because I really, really want to be there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when you're coming up through the ranks, there's a lot of shoulds and how you feel you should appear and how you feel you should be, or what size clothing you should wear, what your hair should be like, you know. And there's a freedom with like embracing who you actually are and being employed. Being employed for being who you are, and, you know, realizing that then your real talent actually shines through all of that.
There is something pretty magical about being your most authentic self and people throwing money at that, going, we love that. Like, you know, especially I think for those of us who have experienced a level of masking and having to try and be something else to fit in, to finally get to a point you're like, I am the closest I've ever been to my most authentic self.
Yeah.
And people go, oh my God, that's worthy of being on stage for 8 entire audiences a week like that.
And yet Ula, the character I'm playing at the moment, is like she's like a masked version of me. So it's like, it's fun that I get to like dip into her.
Yeah.
And her confidence and her Vivian of Holloway dresses and her red lip and her white hair, you know. But I've learnt so much more now how to be myself when I get off the stage and to separate those worlds. Because for a long time when I was trying to unmask, though I didn't know what it was, I would be able to be myself all day at home. And then I'd get to the theatre with all those loud, amazing people, and I would just slip back into like that confident, loud character. And I was like, why can't I separate the two? You know, why can't I just like be myself? I'm always like acting. But I sat down the other day and I was like, I think I'm there now. And I think that depends on who you're around as well.
Yes.
Because I think everybody universally masks in front of certain rooms or certain people.
Yeah. We all have different versions. Like, maybe, I don't know, if you talked about yourself in like a 4.0 version of yourself, but like there might be a 4.1 and a 4.2. And that's what I'm aiming for. Of like, I want to be mostly authentic version of me. And like, there are groups of people that don't deserve the 4.0 completely unmasked. They need the 0.1 or maybe the 0.2, depending on how safe I feel in that room.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And work commitments.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, you know, this is lovely because I know you and I'm able to, you know, we've got comfy, we've taken our shoes off and we've made it as conversational as possible.
I've been willing to sit cross-legged all day. And this is podcast 3 of the day. And I'm like, can I take my shoes off and sit cross-legged? And I'm like, yes, me too, please.
But then in like a press interview situation, I do honestly feel myself putting on the mask. And I've kind of learnt to accept that is a job that I need to do to get myself through those situations sometimes.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that there are a few things that you do every day to kind of like ground yourself, and like, could you tell me about what those things might be, or if you're willing to share?
I think they're really individual. So I'm like always reluctant to list off what I do, because I think it's about finding what works for every individual. And I hate those memes online that give you like a list of things, and they're like, if you just did these 10 things every day,
my God,
you would be fine.
Fit.
Yeah. So that's not true. But for me, it's like I try and have a breath every day. Like I try and do a bit of mindfulness or meditation or deep breaths. I exercise most days because that's great for me.
Yeah.
I journal most days because I just find that I need to just get the stuff out of here and out of here. And that helps. I'm
hearing an overall theme of something mindful, something that moves you, and something that releases. And do you know what? I think mine would probably be the same.
Yeah.
I'm not good at the deep breath thing. Like yoga and meditate, I can't do it. I do not have the capacity.
It took me such a long time. And there's still days where I'm like, bah.
But mindful for me, I mean, I will go for a walk, because just moving my body with intent, even if it's, leaving the house, putting some shoes on and walking around the block is something. And then, the mindfulness of, whether that's zoning out in a book or, something that for me, I have to do things. So it might be drawing or reading or something along those lines. So, if anyone's listening and they're like, oh my God, I need to like breathe and I need to meditate.
What does that even mean?
What am I meant to think when I'm sat there and I'm trying to empty my brain, but I've just got like 20,000 tabs open? It's like,
it is finding what's right for you. And like, I'd kind of lost the love of like mindfulness and meditation. I actually just started like on a new app because I just needed a bit of redirection or reinvigoration into that. And I don't do it every day. But it's just helpful to everything in my life is like based around coming back to my center. And I can now feel myself when I'm going off and flying above, and I need to just come back to like the stillness that I've found through unmasking is like who I am inside, especially when I'm on stage performing for hundreds of people. And then you need to just always be able to come back. And so I think maybe it's that practice of coming to and from and always coming back to yourself that has really, really helped me.
And as well as your incredible stage presence and everything you're doing in the West End and being on tube posters and being utterly fantastic, you also have this incredible side part of your life that you're really leaning into, helping other people who maybe are at the beginning of this journey and helping them through that as well. So can you tell us a bit about what you're doing off stage?
Yeah, so I think, around the COVID years, I kind of decided I wanted to discover another avenue for myself. And it started with holistic life coaching, which I really took to and found amazing. But what I did find hard after that was finding the right niche with which to make that a career, not a career, even just a viable thing that I could offer to people. And I couldn't decide like what avenue to go down. And then over time, it's just become really, really apparent to me that I want to link it to nutrition and PTing, which are the new endeavors, in order to help people with being themselves, being authentic to themselves, and a heavy influence of body image and relationship to food and neurodivergence all thrown in there. So it's still in the early stages. I'm yet to launch my online coaching, but it's going to be a very supportive platform where you have someone on your side, and there doesn't even have to be any exercise involved. You can opt in or out of that. It's more about having someone on your side helping you make good decisions every day for yourselves and helping you untangle the mess that is maybe your thoughts around food, relationship, body image. because I've been through that journey, and life is so much better on the other side, that I just want to help others do the same. So
I think I can imagine there's a lot of people listening who maybe have tuned in for the neurodivergent part of this chat from the beginning and are suddenly going, you know what, actually, I feel that. I know that food and my ADHD specifically, that has always been a bumpy relationship, whether it's, you know, not necessarily being time aware and so missing like core meal times and then having food like early, late or whatever. And even just needing, like for me, food has sometimes been a source of dopamine for me as well. So it can be such a complex relationship, and not just in the standard ways that people think about. Like it can be very, very complex as a neurodivergent person.
I think getting my neurodivergence diagnosis was almost the final puzzle piece in, like, even when I felt I'd really healed my relationship with food and everything so well, that still felt like something that wasn't quite like clicking into place. And then I got that and I was like, oh, that's why. And learning about dopamine and how we comfort ourselves with food, or, you know, control our food within the realms of neurodivergence has been really, really interesting. And the importance of like regular meal times with all the nutritional elements that we need actually keeps us sustained and well through the day. Funny that. Who knew? Who knew I could survive on a packet of Doritos and a bowl of Prosecco every night? I mean, it was going so well. You know?
There is so much wonderful, incredible, big dream stuff going on in your life. I don't even have the words to describe everything you're working on. But how do you balance having these really big dreams with being kind to yourself?
I don't find that hard anymore.
I love that.
Because I think my values are really in check nowadays. And I think everything I do now comes from, in fact, you know, if I'm working with a client, the first thing I will be trying to get them to identify is their core values, and really dig into that and figure out what those are, because I think they should be your guide posts. Is that a word? Pillars, but with signs. Guideposts. Pillars. Signposts, not guideposts.
There we go. We got there between us. Yeah.
Signposts for where everything else leads you.
Yeah.
And so I don't find that hard, because I feel it is so important to stay true to myself and to be kind to others. Even though within my acting industry especially, you can see that it might be easier to, I don't know, not throw people under the bus, but like, you know, put yourself first and push forward. And maybe there's a quicker way to the top that way, or, but I just feel so strongly that I won't do anything that is not in line with who I am, that I'm willing to play the long game and just see what happens.
I feel that so hard.
Good.
Like, I think it's, I mean, I'm such a justice warrior with like my brain, and I think this is the autism side of things. I'm just like, I always want to see inherent good in people. Like, I'd rather believe that is there and be proved wrong than the other way around. But equally, I would rather play the long game and it take me a little bit longer to get there, but know that when I'm there, like, it was worth the journey.
Because I think you pick up the right people along the way as well. I don't want to get to the top and be surrounded by the wrong people.
Yes. And then, you know, let's face it, we're all human. At some point, something's not going to go our way. And I mean, that is literally just life. But knowing that I have looked after and elevated everyone up with me, like, and not that I rely on people for it, but in case anything ever happened and I needed that support network, I know that I've been inherently like the best person I can be to the people around me.
And you are a queen at that. I mean, you're an empowerment photographer, but that literally is what you do to everybody around you. You know, you empower the people around you. So
I'm going to take that compliment. I'm going to put it in my feel good journal later.
You must.
But yeah, I think it is just so important to have that and just have a little bit of knowledge in yourself that it was worth the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is making me feel so good. No.
Yay.
How has living in alignment then changed the world around you. So obviously we've talked about it in terms of like your career and
Yeah.
making sure that you're taking only opportunities that feel aligned for you. But like, how else does that show up in your life?
It makes me a better parent. I've got 2 young girls, and if I'm able to like be kind to myself, and I don't love myself every day, but I certainly do a hell of a lot more than I used to. And if I'm able to show up for myself in that way, then I feel like they're seeing that that's important for them to do as well.
And that's such a valid point as well. I think we're all expected to love ourselves with such 100% intention every single day.
Yeah.
And one of the key things I have learned in my life is that self-love isn't linear. Like,
It's not linear.
and there will always be ups and downs. So
Yeah.
teaching them that is such.
And we're surrounded by a world that like tells us all the things we're not supposed to love about ourselves. So if we can just get rid of a few of those, that we're doing really well, I think.
So, I mean, also, what's not to love?
I know. Right? I know, but I also think there can be this sort of like unrealistic positivity of loving yourself, which isn't always valid for every individual.
100%.
And that we're still allowed to want to better ourselves or change or do things that in our life that will make us genuinely feel good for ourselves, not for external validation. And that there are bits that are trickier to embrace, but things change and move, and it's not linear, as you say.
I feel like for me, that big reframing of that was changing it from the words body positivity to body acceptance.
Yes.
And meeting myself where I am rather than, it's all well and good to be positive, but I'm also like, an actual positive change for me is just loving and accepting myself the way that I am. And that switch from being like, I have to feel good about myself all the time to I am okay with where I am at.
It's like almost indifference sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Like a really personal example for me is that I will always look at my legs and not like the backs of my legs, for example. But whereas that used to be pure hatred and embarrassment, it's not now suddenly love and rainbows and sunshines. It's just like indifference now. It's just like, that's who I am. And that feels fucking great because it's not, I'm not trying to reach for this standard that like isn't ever going to happen for me. Either in perfect legs or in perfect love for everything about myself. It's just,
it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, actually, if people ask me what I love about myself, one of the things I always say is I love that I have strong legs and they get me out of bed every day and they carry me to do all the things that I want to do in the day. And actually,
and strangle your enemies with your thighs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very important point.
Yeah. Or crush a watermelon because you never know when you need a watermelon, right?
I need one right now.
The irony of this conversation is I don't actually like watermelon.
You're not?
No.
Have you had watermelon since being on your ADHD meds?
No. Or is this a thing?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to buy one on the way?
Yeah, I think you should. When you get that dry mouth.
Is that the one?
The watermelon is otherworldly.
Move over diet chewing gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going in for the watermelon later. I might have to put a thing in the show notes when this comes out.
Yeah.
Controversial update.
Controversial.
She now likes watermelon. I have a question for you. This is an absolute side tangent.
Love it.
But I wanted to ask you about your neurodivergence and acting specifically. When you learn lines, how do you learn lines? I mean, is that I don't even know what I'm asking.
So I don't know. But like one of the telling signs of autism for me was when you get the like checklist and they're like, do you remember facts or whatever? Or like whatever the question is, that's like, no. I'm like, no, I hate history. I can't retain a date in my head.
Oh, I'm awful at history.
Can't. But then Luke was like, yeah, but you know every song lyric from the last 50 years, every single one. And I was like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Like if you brought up a song that I listened to when I was 12 right now that I hadn't heard since then, I would be able to tell you the whole song and sing it for you, obs.
So I had Radio 1 anthems, the Radio 1.
I don't listen to Radio 1. I'm very old.
Oh, I'm still clinging on to my Radio 1.
Love Radio 2.
And Eminem Stan came on,
Uh-huh.
and I was like singing along to it, and I'm like, wait, they've cut an entire paragraph out of this. I mean, obviously there's bits that are probably too problematic for the radio at the time. It was like, but you're right, like
just
you
comes
can
back
play
to
me
you.
a song from any time in my life,
Yeah.
as long as I knew the lyrics at some point, like they are in there.
They're in there. Yeah. I mean, Smash Hits, when you used to get the lyrics and Smash Hits.
Yes.
Best day.
They were great.
Yeah, so in answer to your question about learning lines, I don't know. Because I just read them and they slowly go in. And I have a slight photographic memory as well. Like, I picture them on the page. If I'm in an audition and I'm like, I haven't fully integrated that line into my body, but I can kind of picture where it is on the page and go, that was the next line there. And it's next to that line on the page and I can see what it looks like.
So mine is the same. The reason I asked this because I did a TEDx talk last year.
Yes.
And so
wonderful.
Thank you. And one of the things that came up when people are learning, they're like, record it and then put it in like your iPhone or whatever and play it through Spotify.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. So anyway, I recorded it. Could not, for the life of me, get it to go in. I'd been listening for 3-4 weeks at this point and I could not memorize it. And in the end, I had to resort to writing it down. And as soon as I wrote it, my brain went, it's there on the page.
Yes.
And I feel like I am reading the lines.
I do that with my song lyrics, actually. And then I just repeat.
Yeah.
I'll like be walking down the street and mumbling it to myself.
Yeah.
I do feel like it needs to get in my body to be remembered, not just my brain, if that makes sense. Like I need it to feel in my whole body. That probably sounds crazy.
No, I think, but then by saying that, is it when you're learning lines, you might also be doing actions or moving or walking or like embodying the part.
You're embodying it, yeah. And it's like where the words, I suppose, sit, where the character sits within her body. Yeah.
Do you think there's anything about your, I hate the term superpower, but like, do you think there's anything within your neurodivergence that makes being on stage like, I don't want to say easier, but like, is there anything that you can bring in that supports you in ways that maybe the average neurotypical person might not experience?
Maybe. I mean, I would say that a high proportion of people in theatre are neurodivergent.
I mean, yes.
They just don't know it yet or don't want to know it, which is fair. Yeah, I think, but it's my hyper focus, I suppose, that allows me to fully immerse myself in that story and on stage. But that was from when I was a kid. I always never wanted to play board games or anything. I wanted to play like imaginary games so that I could just immerse myself in being someone else.
What were your favourite themes of imaginary play?
I was always a dog. I was always a dog.
I love that.
Yeah, I was always a dog that had puppies.
Okay.
I was obsessed with that. Yeah. I spent most of my childhood on all fours, actually.
Great.
Yeah. I don't know why people didn't know. So, I think it's just what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And even when I was like a depressed teenager writing poetry, I would always write about how nobody understood how I was feeling. And yet if I could get on stage, even if I'm not being myself and being another character, I could express all these emotions that are just dying to come out of me, but under the safe mask of being another character. And I love that about theatre. I love that you can channel things that you're feeling through the safety of being someone else, essentially. And again, on the flip side with Ula, so my last part, Claire, was incredibly emotional. And I definitely channeled a lot of stuff I'd been through with my family through that role. And it was very cathartic. And now on the flip side, Ula is like the polar opposite of that. And she is so confident, like being able to step into Ula's shoes every night and walk into a room and be like, I am the hottest shit that this town has ever seen. Like, and
I used to see but
also she's so stupid and silly and like, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like, again, just being able to be someone that I don't get to be every day. And then taking that off at the end of the night and going home.
Yeah.
My husband, bless him, he sees me be all these fabulous women on stage, and then he gets sort of a bed monster.
Oh, he gets the most authentic.
He does get the most authentic side of me. But yeah, less glamorous. But
do you know what though? There's something so special about being so trusted in someone's life that you get to see, the glam, the mask, everything else. Yeah, it's great that everyone else gets to see that, and then to have that someone who trusts you so much that they can be the most bed monsterish self around you. Like,
yeah, and that's
incredible.
I think he said to me the other night, he was like, I think I thought maybe I'd kept up more of a mask for longer with Luke than I had. Luke's my husband. And he said, it's not possible. Like, we've been together for so long now that you haven't, essentially. But for me, it was an unpicking there as well of like this expectation of what I'm supposed to be as a wife, as a mother, as a lover, and who I really am. And there's definitely a reroute for both of us back into connection and authenticity with each other that is quite an exciting little path to go down.
Yeah.
Because, I think that performance that I had, that character that I played, permeated every part of my life. Even if you did see me real a lot, it wasn't always. And so, yeah, it's nice to try to reconnect amongst the screaming children.
Amongst the screaming children, of course.
But yeah.
What part of your overall story do you think people misunderstand or oversimplify?
Just that someone like me could be autistic. I think on paper I am very successful, and I get told constantly how much I get done. Like, you get so much done. Like, how do you fit it all in? But
hyperfocus and adrenaline.
Hyperfocus, adrenaline, and ignoring everything that I should be doing.
And how is the post-adrenaline burnout?
Yeah, it's a lot. And I just think we know that right now a lot of people are getting diagnosed for reasons that are great, and they should, and we're all realising things we should have realised about ourselves a long time ago, but the wider public think, oh, it's just trendy, or it's, I mean, who would want to get diagnosed as autistic if they weren't convinced that they were?
Like, there is no treatment, there is no, like, you basically get given a piece of paper that goes, oh, hey,
here's all your problems.
Here's some stuff about you that you didn't know, and it's written in a very medically savage way.
Savage. Yours were particularly savage as well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what though? I'm so grateful because actually I am someone who needs to see it in the savage way. I need the blunt version, and so I'm so grateful that mine exists in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nothing changed.
No.
Except that I know myself better and can handle that better. And
you're given some answers to keys that you've been locks and keys you've been trying to put together for a while. And I think it just allows you to be so much kinder to yourself. I'm less like trying to force myself into being someone I'm not. I'm just like, this is who I am, and it's because I'm autistic. And I'm accepting of that and learning every day. There's still early days to be more accepting of that. And I think just sometimes I feel people don't believe that I could be because of what I've achieved or what they see in front of them. But actually, you don't see what's going on behind closed doors or what the struggles have been. Or
you don't see the meltdowns.
You don't see the meltdowns.
On the living room floor.
Anxiety. Yeah. The inability to get going because you're paralyzed by your own brain. The language, the way you talk to yourself inside your head that can be so horrifically awful because you don't fit into the space you're supposed to fit into. And I'm a really good actress. Like,
so good.
I've been acting my whole life, at being this friendly, confident person, and she needs a break.
She's great. I mean, she's literally West End level good at masking, guys. But yeah.
So I think that's that, really.
Yeah.
But the more we learn about ourselves, the more we're able to just show up as ourselves and smile and nod at those people who don't understand and probably won't ever understand. Sometimes it's okay to try and educate people, and sometimes it's just not even worth the breath, you know. And autism is like, it gives me so many of the great things about myself as well. And I wouldn't be me without both sides. So, yeah.
It'd be so interesting maybe to revisit this in like a year's time and see where we're both at.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to put this date in the diary later to do it. But for now, if anyone is listening and they're resonating and like, oh my God, I needed this conversation, what advice would you give? Maybe to someone, if we imagine like young Jo, what would you be telling young Jo if she was listening right now?
I suppose it's just, I'd say, stop plastering things on top and start taking them away. But I'm trying to think of like a better way of putting that. I think for a long time I just was trying to fix things with performing, alcohol, being this big personality, and actually like I just wish someone had told me that it's okay to be who you are and it's okay to be sad and that you'll figure it out, and that, you know, like just follow your bliss, essentially.
Follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss. Follow the things that make you feel good, even if they're freaking weird. You know?
I think that might be the title of this podcast. Follow your bliss, even if it's weird.
Freaking weird.
Freaking weird. Freaking. Making note of that, Connor. That's definitely going on there.
Oh.
And if anyone wants to find out more about you, maybe they want to come see you in a show.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're like, you know what, actually, I think you'd be an incredible life coach for me, well-being coach. What was the official term you used?
What did I use?
I don't know.
Life. Oh, it was just a mixture. I need to come up with like a full spiel of what it's going to be.
Well, we can work on that one.
Yeah.
Put it in the show notes. But if anyone is listening and they're like, actually, you'd be the perfect person to guide me through.
I'm a coach for whatever
Coach
people
me
need.
through life.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
Well, my normal Instagram is the Joanna Woodward, and then I also have a little side Instagram for my coaching, which is Joanna W Coaching. And yeah, really, it's just a watch and wait because I'm just finishing my studies and then doing all the gubbins to get it up and running in the next few months. But yeah, say hi to me on Instagram and we'll go from there.
Perfect. And then they can also see you currently in the West End.
Yeah, in the Producers at the Garrick Theatre.
Amazing.
Yep, we're there till September at least, hopefully more.
Amazing. I need to book tickets. I'm going to literally get off this podcast and I'm going to book them now to come and see you. Thank you. This has been the most beautiful, honest conversation. And it's just been so nice to hear your version of basically exactly where I'm at right now as well, from a different perspective. So I needed this.
Thank you.
And I'm sure it's going to resonate. Well, if you have been watching or listening at home and any of this has resonated with you, please follow, subscribe. And if you know anyone that may need to hear this message, please just send it to them, because a share can literally be the information that we need to find out more about ourselves. I will be back next week with another exciting guest and another episode. But until then, please remember, you're not broken. You're just finding your user manual.